Welcome to the Hangar Z podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicast. This episode was recorded on location in Washington, D.C. from the D.C. Metro Police Aviation Hangar as part of the Hangar Z Vertical Valor Blades of Valor tour. The road tour included visits to some of North America's public safety aviation units, showcasing some of the country's heroes who exemplify courage, dedication, and selflessness in the line of duty every day. Jack Schonley, Brent Bundy from Vertical Valor magazine, and I were invited into the D.C. Metro Police Aviation Hangar to see firsthand the good work they're doing to protect the capital of the United States. In this episode of the Hangar Z podcast, we sit down with Sgt Danny Thaw and pilot Kevin Chittick from the Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police Air Support Unit. The conversation delves into the critical role of aviation during civil disturbance situations and providing valuable information to ground units. Listeners will gain insights into the complexities of operating within the tightly controlled airspace of Washington, D.C. We discuss and emphasize the importance of crew resource management and the strong relationship between law enforcement and air traffic controllers, highlighting the significance of fostering trust and communication. We discuss the impact of new technologies on law enforcement aviation, along with stories from impactful missions, including the response to the January 6th incident. Tune in to discover the essential value of aviation in enhancing situational awareness and supporting officers on the ground in their ongoing commitment to public safety. Thank you to our sponsors, Airbus, Shotover, and Spectralab.
Welcome to the Hangar Z podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicasts. The Hangar Z podcast is the first and only podcast dedicated to promoting and exploring the personnel and equipment behind the missions in public safety aviation. Join your host, Jon Gray, Jeff Ratkovich, and Jack Schonley.
Still southbound, skidding to a stop. Stand by here. Looks like they're getting ready to bail. Heads up, guys, bailing. Okay, the guy, he's running through the house, jumping the fence, threw the shotgun, threw something out. Grabbing the shotgun. Don't go over that fence. Don't go over that fence. Grab the shotgun again. He is armed. Stay there. Hold your position.
4 on the stop. You're in custody.
Good advising code 4 on the stop.
The airspace alone adds a lot to your plate that the typical pilot and even the typical law enforcement pilot aren't dealing with.
Right.
You know, I mean, everybody says, oh,
Typical,
LAX. Right. Oh my God, how did you deal? It was easy. it was a no-brainer. This is different.
Right.
This is different. I didn't have to worry about, you know, the restrictive stuff.
Right.
You know, I just had to worry about tower. Now, we had a lot of towers, and it looks intimidating on the chart.
Right.
But in big scheme of things, it was simple compared to this.
Sure.
This New York City's a little intimidating too. But I think DC, of all the charts I've looked at, I've looked at this one. I think you might have even been the one that showed it to me one time. And I went, oh my gosh. How do you do it? And I didn't even know about the 7-sector thing.
Yeah.
So that's
and
then
then
a big workload.
Within that, you also have the routes. This was so they're like little highways. It comes down the river, one of them. The Beltway's one.
Sure.
You know, there's I think there's 12 different routes. So you got to memorize all this stuff. So
Do you just get a helicopter frequency route or frequency?
No, well, there's a helicopter, but it's attached to the regular traffic. You're not hearing the fixed wing. You can hear in the controller every time. Delta's 555, you're clear to, launch or whatever. So you'll hear that part of it. You won't hear Delta talk back.
But it's on a dedicated helicopter frequency with the tower?
Correct.
Okay, good.
Yep.
But that person has multiple duties in that tower.
Yes, and when it's it gets busy.
It's hard to get on the air
Summertime,
sometimes here.
So they'll switch. There'll be two controllers talking. I mean, those guys at DCA are just amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much stuff going on, and they had a close one recently, but they have got so much stuff going on over there. It's they're real.
And you have it sounds like you have an excellent relationship with them.
We do.
How do you foster that relationship besides doing what you're saying and getting their trust and all that? Do you do anything beyond that, especially?
They have some programs up there where they have some aviation programs for youth in the city and the general area. And when they ask to come by and, we host open houses, one of their, I forget his name. But he is the head of a boys and girls chapter of young aviators for the city. And when they come by, we do an open house for the unit. We get a chance to meet and greet him. And I think that fosters a good relationship, just seeing we're part of the players here that are trying to help out.
Right.
And the other thing is that we've, in the past, and we haven't done this, we need to reach out and do this again, is had their controllers, especially their new
comply
controllers,
with us.
Yeah.
Just see what
Very
we do.
valuable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very, very valuable.
And we go up there. Our flight officers have had a chance, part of their training is to go learn DC Tower and see, look, have some respect for when you're not getting answered. They're so busy. It's not that you getting ignored. They are.
What's interesting though is they're used to the radio chatter on their frequency. What they're not used to is sitting in a helicopter, hearing their frequency plus your radio frequencies, right?
Yeah.
The police
I
frequencies.
mean, we have cases where I'm working 3 different radios. I'm going between 2 patrol districts and another county here. He's talking to Andrews Tower back at DCA, and we're trying to in-cockpit communicate. I mean, it's stuff. Hey, do you have eyes on? Let me get eyes on this. I got to switch from PD1 to PD3. And
You're like a DJ in a club.
That's exactly right.
I mean, it feels like that. Sometimes I land, I'm like, geez, what's those? But that's where the experience comes in, and you look at the right seat. I mean, I've had times where like, Kevin, you got to talk to PD3. I got 1 and 2 going. I can't do 3. My limit's 2.
Yeah.
DJ Danny.
That's great.
It's a lot.
Well, tower operators probably get in there and go, wow, you got a lot going on here.
Yeah.
And they respect that because they got a lot going on too. It's one of the most difficult jobs on the planet is air traffic controller, bar none. I mean, it's why they are very picky. It's why they wash people out. They don't tolerate incompetence, and because there's lives at stake. Very busy, but then they see in a helicopter, in a police helicopter, they go, wow, you guys are right there with us. And it's true. There's a lot of frequencies, a lot of things in your ears, and you've got to manage all that too. They probably really, I know they do. I've had them tell us, they really respect it. And then they grow, it expands their trust in you by having them up there and see what you do and that you're not abusing that.
Yes.
When we ask you to go there, we really need it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not just to go sightseeing.
We've never had a pursuit with them, but a dream scenario would be having to go into P-56 with them on board.
Oh, yeah.
And seeing, look, we only have 20 seconds and it takes a minute.
Yeah.
This is why we're...
I think you guys should coordinate that.
Yeah. Make that happen.
That's such an interesting scenario that you have. It's really kind of cool to see from all these different standpoints we've talked about the amount of coordination it takes to do the police mission from your guys' angle.
It is.
That
It's
is
a lot.
That is wild.
It's a whole different level, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we look at what we did and say, wow, it's pretty busy. And then you listen to this and go, it was easy. Yeah. So much of that was easy.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have to give play-by-play to LA Tower unless I was getting into a certain area really close to the airport.
Right.
And it happened. I mean, we have a crew, Jack Brandt and Coley Madigan, that followed a cop killer. They watched the cop killing. And they followed the suspect into LAX. And LA Tower said, it's yours. Whatever you need, just fly. The airspace is yours. And the suspect bailed out at a terminal.
Wow.
It was in the loop at LAX and ends up being another officer involved shooting there. I mean, and that tower just didn't blink. And we always said that's because of the relationship we had with them years prior.
Right.
People years before Jack and Coley were over that created that atmosphere where they didn't blink and trusted us and said, what do you got? I mean, they told them, we have a cop killer coming into LAX.
Right.
Airspace is yours.
Yeah.
They diverted people. They had go-rounds. I mean, it was incredible. But that takes some doing. That doesn't happen overnight.
Have a history of being a professional, basically.
Yes.
I mean, that's really what it is.
That's exactly
You respect his position. You listen to him. When he tells you you can't do it, you don't do it. You don't try and force it down their throat. And that's what I think it is. I think
so too.
A friend of ours, the podcast, his name's Brian Gleason. He's a tower controller for Ontario. He just moved to John Wayne in Southern California. He's been a controller now for, 10 years plus, I believe, in Ontario, which is Class C airspace. Goes to John Wayne, I believe it's also Class C airspace. He's got a 2-year training process for that switch from Class C to Class C. Any insight on what their training requirements are to be a full controller here?
I think there's a large probationary period. Don't quote me on this, but I do believe it is also 2 years.
Gosh.
Yeah.
It's hard to fathom, you know?
Yeah.
It is.
It's a long time.
It adds a level to their job that's uncommon too. I mean, you think of other towers, like Atlanta or Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Dallas,
busy.
Yeah.
Well, this is busy in a different way.
Yeah.
It's busy because there is a lot of air traffic, but it's busy also because of all the restrictions and it's very unique.
Yeah.
Really unique. Great conversation. We told you we are hitting airspace on this conversation today because of that uniqueness.
Right.
And anything else you can think of about the airspace that you want to talk about?
I mean, so you have PG County has an air units. Fairfax County has an air unit. Maryland State and U.S. Park Police have air units, all within, the confines of the Beltway, basically.
Right.
I mean, they all have jurisdiction inside that. So it's a coordination, I think, when you have a law enforcement or any type of big event that happens, trying to coordinate it through air to air.
Right.
And talk to tower. And usually, like you said, usually the tower will say, you know what, you got it. You're handling that.
Yeah.
And let us handle it.
So there is an air-to-air frequency that's used frequently that you guys use to talk to
quite a bit.
These aircraft that are flying here.
The military, we can't.
Military's
got they're on a different frequency level.
To touch PG County, that's our neighboring county, and it's a cross-jurisdictional.
Yeah.
DC crime is the crime in Prince George's County.
Sure.
Prince George's County's crime it's the same thing. And, we've worked out a thing in the air sometimes. We're like, look, if it's coming from PG into DC and your guys are behind it, it's yours.
Right.
If we're going outbound into PG and our guys are behind it,
It's good practice.
we try to just stay. I'm going to stay with my guys. You're going to stay with your guys.
Yeah.
But, there's times where we're up earlier in the morning, they're up later in the night, where they help us out, we help them out. There's kind of an unspoken mutual aid. We will provide air support to Prince George's County, and they will provide air support to DC. And that's almost like our sister unit. Those guys do incredible work over
Yeah,
there.
they do.
They've been around a long time too.
Yes.
They've won Air Crew of the Year award multiple times.
Well
the last 10
deserved.
years.
Those guys are incredible. The FLIR captures that they've had, they've got some awesome left seaters over there.
So the air-to-air frequency, that primarily for you, it's other law enforcement agencies that you're talking to in that, or
And medevac.
and medevac.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So there are medevacs.
And
that are
sometimes
coming in.
media doesn't get in here that often
Right.
anymore, but occasionally they will, and they know 123 or 25.
Yep.
That's the talk around here.
Yep. Same
Yeah.
in the West
But I
Coast.
think it's everywhere. Yeah. We hear Baltimore all the time,
yeah.
especially at nighttime.
Yeah.
I'll just touch on this quickly. We called that Bravo, where we're from, and it would get quiet at night, and you drop a meow every now and then just to keep things lively. I'd imagine you can't do that here.
No. It's pretty busy, throughout the night.
Yeah.
It's real busy.
Yeah, man.
Let's shift gears from airspace to your unit.
Airframe.
Let's talk about the unit here. How many personnel, pilots, TFOs, all that stuff?
So we've grown in the past year. We've been down to as low as 2 for TFOs and pilots. We've gotten now as high as 6 pilots and 5 flight officers. So, we fluctuate with people retiring, people getting other jobs, people promoting out and stuff of that nature. Right now is the most personnel rich we have been in probably the last 15 years. Really had a large amount of work put in by this unit to build it to what it is now. I mean, the amount of cases closed, assists that we've had, and what we've brought to the table, I believe has really shown through, and we've been getting pretty much everything we ask for. Updated airframes, updated LE equipment, more pilots, more TFOs, better training.
Yeah.
Just really a lot of stuff being put on this unit, and the delivery from the guys that work here has been tremendous.
Is there anything specific that you do to communicate the good work of the unit to the chief and to the city?
Thank you to our sponsor, SpectroLab. SpectroLab, a pioneer and world-leading supplier of high-intensity searchlights for all para-public operations. Visit www.spectrolab.com to learn more about our third-generation Night Sun series high-intensity searchlight. When reliability and performance is critical to your mission, count on SpectroLab Night Sun searchlights.
There was an initiative, it was called the Robbery Suppression Initiative. It was started last year. There was a uptick in robberies, carjackings, and other violent crime. It's an initiative put in by the chief of police. She was pretty much within her first couple months, and it was one of her first initiatives. And we were part of kind of the forefront of that. And we started flying with one of our robbery suppression units, giving them, updates. They were putting trackers on vehicles. We were getting up pretty much instantly for things when they occurred. And we had closed more cases and had more assists in that time frame than we had ever had in the unit's history. And I think from there it showed with, intel-led policing, with proper flight times, being in the right areas at the right times with the right units, what an absolute asset this is. And it doesn't just have to be reactionary. We can actually bring a proactive approach to law enforcement. And, it's all credit once again to the ground guys, because they're putting us where we need to be, getting the trackers on those cars and getting in the area for bailouts. But we were able to track cars that didn't know they were tracked. When they would get out or bail out, we'd be able to bring in the robbery suppression guys. And we were closing very violent felony cases with, without crazy pursuits through the city and without prolonged stuff.
Yeah.
Just using really action-led policing.
Yeah.
So I think that initiative really changed the structure of this unit.
Wow. What about other stuff like unrelated to? I mean, I love that. I was very proactive, and you're getting on the front end of that. But like something that's not as high profile, but you go out and you get a great capture, or you find a missing child, or whatever it is, and you guys know, oh, that was good. That was good. Do you have something in place, or is it just kind of depends on what it is?
It depends
that the
on
chief finds out about it.
It's you guys are the law enforcement. It just depends what catches. It'll get a news attention or something like that. Like you'll catch 5-6 carjackings and you think they're these huge cases, and then there'll just be one that's exceptionally heinous.
Right.
Like a very violent. There was one I could think of. I don't remember who flew it. I believe Tom Crabb and Otto, but they had called an Uber driver, got to their destination, and they had horribly assaulted this individual, but they didn't close the Uber ride, so it kept tracking the ride.
Oh.
So when the detectives got there, they see the app and they start getting the phone, and we ended up closing that case and ended up on, a primetime news story. So that's one that, obviously garnered more attention.
Sure.
But, for us in the unit, that was just, it was another carjacking that we had closed. It just, depends on the case and what the outcome is and what the media attention, I think.
We just talked about this in Nashville, where their unit really has done a lot of hard work, and they made a really big effort to let the command know, hey, look at our stats, and all of a sudden they're getting equipment that they need, and it's grown and it's getting better and better and better.
The stats
very
are big.
important.
The stats we keep a pretty good track, an extremely good track of stats, and we push up our arrests, and we always let our chain of command know, like, hey, we were involved in this, we initiated this, and passing that up.
I was just going to say, because he's such a humble guy. He's come in the unit, and the unit's really evolved quite a bit. We don't have downlink in these things yet. This new aircraft, we're going to have downlink. I mean, there's so many things. We're taking pictures with our cell phones.
Older platforms, for sure.
Yeah. And because of some of the things that, you instill in the guys. And
the biggest thing, we're all privileged as heck to be here, coming from, a complete ground perspective and always looking at aviation at how amazing it is. But to come here, you see, it's like we really are in a privileged position. We really do need to perform. This is a no mistake atmosphere. There's zero room for error. There's zero room for goofing around. And really, if we can do that just every day, day in and day out, do your job to the absolute best. It's the least we can do for people who are really out there, pushing a scout car, 10, 12 hours a day.
Right.
We owe it to this police department to be the absolute best we can be.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the proactive stuff starts coming into place. We need to start showing these guys, you're not just out there alone.
Right.
We're not just sitting in the air conditioning, and it's not just this high throne position. Like we are coming to the table and putting some meat down.
Yeah.
True,
And Jack,
the true force multiplier in that situation.
Yes, that's perfect. But I was going to say, and you've been around, you know how it is. You're a lone officer out there, and you're outnumbered, and how right now the way the vision of the police is from the population. Sometimes we'll hear it, you could hear it like you were talking about, the inflection in the voice. Hey, we need to get over there and help that guy out.
Yeah.
So
we'll
the light,
putting
putting the light on them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you'll get a call like, man,
Thank you.
thank you.
Oh,
To
yeah.
us, it's literally a joystick with a light.
Yeah.
But to a guy on the ground, it just, people care, people are coming.
Yeah.
And, you all see, you've got support.
Yeah.
Going back to what we're talking about, we had an interesting conversation with the Michigan State Police. And then I'll go back one more step. We talked about mission equipment and how we can utilize that stuff. There's so many ways to utilize the mission equipment, in particular the recordings that we get from those things. We talked about training, talk about downlink equipment, like just how it makes us so much more efficient. But when it comes to this conversation we're having about how do we take what we do and show the command staff the value of this equipment and what we're doing. Michigan State Police, with their weekly activity reports, not only do they submit their top cases for the week or the month, but they're actually submitting the video feeds that go with that.
Right.
They'll take those segments and edit that down to a consumable portion. And so the command staff sees the value, not just from the helicopter, but they see the work that's being done on the ground too. So really neat that we're taking this technology that's of benefit to us as an air crew, to the ground personnel as far as actionable intelligence, but we're using that to help promote what we're doing. It's really cool. That's the most unique way I've seen of a unit promoting their activity.
Yeah.
And I think that's the direction we're trying.
That's
trying
where
to
we're
get
trying.
into.
You bring up such the unique point of The video is so big. When body-worn cameras came into play, all command wants, all detectives wants, all the prosecuting attorneys want, that video is is everything.
Yeah.
That's the testimony right there. And providing the video changes the entire ballgame. And what this provides, it's not just the first-person view, but it's showing the entire scene. I mean, the video is, that's the real resource.
That's the expectation
It is.
in today's
Well, it's
world,
the
too.
expectation.
Yeah.
It's getting the command staff to understand that, these tools, these two helicopters they just have so much information that they could have at the tip of their fingers if they understand it. It's all about, it really is all about training and information.
It is.
They need to know, our guys need to be trained on how to do certain things. And the guys on the managers need to know, well, what can that thing provide for me?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Well, I think back to my patrol time. I'd not having been in a helicopter before. I had no idea what the TFO's looking at on the monitor. You think they can see everything.
Right.
And then I go,
Well, managing expectations, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Like, 45 minutes ago, a red car did this crime.
Yeah. Find it, Eric.
What can you do? Yeah,
You got it yet?
Yeah.
You have it yet?
We
Do you
do.
have it yet?
We do also have those situations where, like, what do you guys have for us? We got nothing.
right.
it's a red car.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Let's switch gears to airframes. Mr. Pilot, tell us about what you're flying, mission equipment, from your perspective, and we can go back and forth to Danny too on his side of the cockpit. However you want to handle it. Tell us about mission equipment and airframes here at.
I'll let you cover the mission equipment. I'll tell you. All right. We're AS 350. It's a great aircraft for observation, no doubt about it.
B3s,
It's
correct?
a strong,
Kevin?
yes.
B3s.
Strong aircraft for a little aircraft. It's a strong aircraft. These is what they bought 20 years ago, and there's so many more developments now. So the new aircraft we're going to get is going to have a bigger window like LAPD has.
Yeah.
For the left seater, which I'm looking forward to. But I think on the pilot side of things, the aircraft, whatever the weather is, we're in really good shape with this aircraft.
Yeah.
And
I'm not an endorsement for Airbus, obviously, but I do believe this is the most interchangeable, easiest to operate, strongest, most reliable single-engine aircraft you can have out there. I mean, there really isn't a question of whether we were going to switch or not when it came to the time. Obviously, LAPD is kind of the forefront of aviation. That's what you guys fly. I would assume that was probably part of the decision to go to the 350 B3s when we did, but to stay with them now with everything we know, just what this aircraft brings to the table, it is just such a reliable platform.
Do you have an application with Airbus?
I love Airbus products. I think they do fly.
Oh, they do.
They do.
A great
They do.
product.
They do. It's a great law enforcement platform.
Yes.
There's pluses and minuses to every
Yes,
platform.
absolutely.
And we have flown in a couple different products this week, and from different manufacturers. And there's pluses to all of them. It's amazing. But the room in here, and visibility are really a big plus here. You got plenty of power for what we're
What
doing.
we do is all we
You know,
need.
we don't have to go to Mount Everest with this thing, although it
But
has.
it does.
yeah, that's right.
I saw a picture of that guy the other day
Oh, my God.
online. It
K2?
just popped up, and it said, "Oh, met the pilot that flew the A-Star to Everest." But it's really nice. It's a nice aircraft for what you do on a daily basis for the law enforcement mission.
Yep.
What's the future with that, with the airframe? You're hinting at it.
So
it sounds like it's coming.
We're getting, probably in the next week or two, we're getting the new 125. Got the West Cam MX-10. We're going to have the Trekka. We're going to have the shot over system.
Okay.
The Churchill computer. It's going to be the Bentley of A-Stars.
There you
No,
go.
it's not the A-Star. The 125. So to go from, two 20-year-old aircrafts that have 20-plus year technology to going to this is huge change.
And,
Something
and the
just
training on top of that, though, right? We're
Huge amount of difference with
Yes.
how we're operating systems. So it's going to change the way we fly. It's going to change the way we operate.
Yeah. Something just clicked here, and you're probably reading my mind. When I was dealing with Tom Lynch at Public Affairs, he called me at one point and said, "Hey, we're real interested in having you guys. That's great. Could you maybe delay, maybe a month or so? There's some changes coming." And he didn't elaborate. And I said, we're only in town this. Long story short, ding, 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 the light bulb just went off. He obviously knew that this is coming, and it would have been nice to see your brand new bird with your brand new equipment. So I get that. Sorry, Hannah, we came too soon, but we'll come back.
Come on back.
That's exciting. I'm really excited for you guys.
I mean,
it's a
for
game changer.
20-something years, these aircraft have been phenomenal.
Yeah.
Perfectly maintained, very
Workhorses.
reliable workhorse aircraft. But to get that new LE technology,
Yes.
just is exciting. But it's also, it comes with its own things. The training, there's going to be a curve, and I think the biggest thing is to tamper expectations. We're not going to be putting perfect video progress out there day one.
No, of course,
take some time.
It's going to be. It's going to take some practice.
You probably know him as a guy from San Diego. He puts on the FLIR class.
Kevin
took his class.
Nick Minks.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
Used
just
to be Kevin, now Nick. Yeah.
But he puts on an awesome class, and he is straightforward with you guys. Is you're not going to walk in that cockpit day one and operate this system.
right.
It's a completely different way.
That's right.
Of flying.
Yeah. Is there any big changes for you as a pilot?
Thank you to our sponsor, Shotover. Shotover Systems is the leading developer and manufacturer of high-performance gyro-stabilized cameras with advanced real-time AR mapping and mission management, all backed by unparalleled custom training and support. Now offering the M2 multi-sensor system, sole 6-axis EO/IR platform with 4K Ultra HD color and infrared technology. Ideal for law enforcement and defense. Offered with real-time AR overlays to quickly identify streets, weather, and traffic. Automated license plate recognition, 24 megapixel digital photographs, and automated steering and tracking.
Dual hydraulics is going to be probably the biggest. Yeah,
that's nice.
Very nice. Yeah. So
that's a good feeling.
We haven't had any issues, thank God. But I should say, in generations in here currently, prior to it, Brad, I was talked to you about earlier.
Yeah.
He had a failure. The belt broke.
Yeah.
So. Had to do an emergency landing over at DCA.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dual hydraulics is really that's a nice insurance policy right there. Because
the redundancy of the system was a big push when I was writing for upgrade.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, you've probably flown this without hydraulics, right?
Yeah. I've tried.
If you could do it.
Your heart hurts.
You get tired real fast.
Yeah.
I mean, you can hover. You can do it. It's really hard. It's not a big deal if you're in flight and you go to 40 to 60 and do a run on, but no big deal. But if you're at that hover or on short final, and you lose it, that dual. I mean, I've had hydraulic horn and light go off and over the logo on our deck on short final.
Oh my
and you
God.
have the actuators that last and go to the south pad and set it down. And I thought, it's a horn. It's going to be a horn. Oh no, my partner, Chris Van Horn, he opens the TFO door and he goes, there is pink stuff flying everywhere. Oh my gosh. It was a small leak in a hose went.
A lot of pressure on it.
And without the pressure, they couldn't see it. I mean, it was like a pinhole.
Right.
But with pressure, it was coming out like a fire hose.
Yeah.
So the dual hydraulics, boy, I always thought that was a really, really good thing.
That's an awesome system to have.
So
you had a hole in the line? Is that what you're?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was just it was like.
Yeah.
Put it this way, mechanic needed to pressurize the system to find it.
Wow.
Because he said, we're not seeing anything. We see that it's obvious. There's there's hydraulic fluid everywhere.
Right.
I mean, everywhere. And he goes, I'm not telling you that it's not there. We know it's there, but we can't find it. So crank it up again.
Yeah.
And then you crank it up again. So, okay, stop. There it is. And you couldn't even see it.
Wow.
But under pressure, I wish I could rattle off how many bars that was, how many bars pressure, but, with that pressure, it was really, really obvious.
Right.
No other big differences though, huh?
I don't think
the way we're going to fly is going to change.
That's true.
We've been flying, eyesight flights,
point.
and we're going to be flying probably another 400, 500 to 600 feet higher, a lot less angle of bank, different speed, different power inputs. I think it's going to change how we operate.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then, to confuse it is we're still going to have one of the same aircraft that does not have that same LE equipment. So
going back and forth.
we're going to be going back and forth till we, catch up with parity in the systems here. It's going to change.
Yeah. You go back to our
18 months.
conversation with Nashville.
Oh yeah, I was just thinking that.
They all let you take over.
Well, no, you know what? We're both thinking the same thing. Go, John.
So they were operating two platforms. They still do. The older platform is now their training platform. They were doing such an efficient job. They're doing such an efficient job with their aircraft that has the mission equipment. If they get a request for service and their primary aircraft is not available, they'll cancel them because they've been they've been shown how effective that equipment is. They just can't do the job that they do without that mission equipment. So admin sees, oh wow, that is so valuable.
Yeah.
We're going to invest extra money to make sure that every aircraft is outfitted with the equipment you need, because we know we can't get that same service outside of that aircraft.
It was really interesting when we talked about that. And then when we flew with them, man, they got a 17-inch monitor in there.
Right.
I mean, and they talked about flying higher, and they talked about
It's the cone of effectiveness.
Yeah, they talked about the same thing that you just mentioned, Danny, and they're happy, and they are producing, and like John said, with the older aircraft, they can't give the same product and service, and they know it, and the people on the ground know it.
Well, the evidentiary value at this point in time, like I said, testimony isn't even, it's almost irrelevant. Did it happen? Is it on video? And where we're at in 2024, if it's not on video, did we really have what happened? And that is where we're at. And if you can put it on video, it changes. There can be no question.
That's right.
What it is.
There used to be an ongoing joke with myself and some of the San Diego guys, particularly Todd Yeager and Kevin Means, where we'd be at a conference and they knew we didn't videotape and they did.
Right.
And they'd say, hey, what, anything going on lately? And I'd tell them about an incident. They go, is it on video? I'd say, no. They say, it didn't happen. It didn't happen.
That's
you
a
got
fisherman's
proof.
story.
That's a great unit. San Diego has that's
they're great.
Unbelievable unit.
We talk about them regularly about how progressive they were. They were doing the video stuff before anybody else was, and they learned to deal with it. It changed things. It was a learning curve, as Kevin and Nick will both tell you. But now it's normal. They don't even have to think about it. They just do it, and they have great success.
And they run the mission. So the coolest thing I thought, which I'm excited to do, is they'll run the mission back when they land, and they'll debrief on the spot before they upload that footage. And they'll talk, what's left seat doing, what's right. Incredible teamwork.
And you get to listen to what you
your
said.
transmissions.
I mean, you can say, well, I think I did a pretty good job there. And then you go back and listen going, oh my gosh, did I say that? And there's no editor like we have. Right? So you got to live with it. And you go, wow, I got to be careful about this. Or I don't like how I described that. I used way too many words,
Absolutely.
And somebody could tell you that, but our egos get in the way in debriefs and stuff. And you go, did I really do that? Or is Danny just screw with me?
I won't hear a transmission for 3 years till it goes to trial. And, then you're like, ooh. I wish I wouldn't have said that. Or, how about that? No, every day I see what I'm saying. I think it really just closes the gap on really effective communication outside the cockpit.
It will.
I'll never forget. We worked it was a foot pursuit of a GTA suspect or something, and we're following the guy on the camera. Goes into a backyard, and I've got him dead rights on the camera, and I'm just coordinating a perimeter. And then we're going to send a ground team in to get him. At one point during our orbit, I see the guy go under a covered patio, and I know he's under there, so I zoom out. We got the saying, when in doubt, zoom out.
Yep.
So I zoom out, and I think I sneezed. Literally, it was a sneeze. Something very short happened, and I look back, still don't see him. He's under that patio. I'm telling the perimeter units, he's under this patio. When you guys make entry, he's right there. So long story short, he was not there. So I take the video back and replay it, and in that time that I sneezed, or whatever that very moment, it was less than a second. When I replayed it in slow motion, you could see him come out from underneath the patio cover and slip out of the area.
Yep.
And it just highlights the importance of paying attention. How quickly these folks can get out of your line of sight.
Yep.
So I was
Murphy's Law.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I tell every recruit that I teach, I said, Murphy's Law. Do you know what Murphy's Law is, first of all? And they go, oh yes, we do. Oh good, because it's alive and well in law enforcement. You're gonna experience it. And I talk about how you look away, you come back. You're assigned to watch that door, and you're watching it, and you look away to sneeze, and you come back, the door's closed, and you go, well, how'd that happen? What?
Yeah.
And then somebody else says, hey, I thought you were watching that door. That happens to SWAT guys, patrol people. It happens to everybody. So don't sneeze when the lesson is no sneezing in the cockpit. Is that the lesson, John?
Well, it's a great training tool. At the end of the day, you go back and you can figure out where you messed up.
And that's what I took for the pilots to see where they can do that. It's going to be awesome. I will be honest, I'm a little nervous. It's just such a huge change.
Don't be nervous. Be excited. Keep the excitement. Don't be nervous, because it's going to come. You just got to be. You do have to be patient, because it's not going to happen overnight.
You got
units that are really good at it.
We're so used to being outside the aircraft and coming, and to stay in is just going to change the game.
It will. Be patient. It'll come, and when it comes, it's going to be so much better for you, and you're going to go, oh, we need another one.
Yeah.
we need another one to replace this older one. You're going to love that.
I was just going to say, we started off with the FLIR 2000 over there years ago, and they'd take us up to ARC, which is a big federal Department of Agriculture's farmland that they test different vegetables and whatever. But there's a lot of deer population there, and there's nobody living there, so you can fly around there. You're definitely going to see something that's warm.
Yep.
So as a young TFO, you can get up there and practice your work. And now that's the old 2000. It's nothing like what we got today.
Right.
And what are you guys seeing? Different units training their TFOs on that equipment.
As far as where they're doing the training, or
like and
deer,
how,
people hiding in the woods.
oh yeah, so that's where the biggest difference is. I think initially you couldn't really identify what you're looking at. You just see that there's heat there,
right?
And now the power of that MX-10 or that shot over camera system, there's such high definition. You can tell if the person you're looking at is a male or a female, if they're wearing jeans or shorts. There's just there's so much definition there. You can see if they've got an object in their hand, probably what it is under IR. Definitely under color, depending on where they are.
Right.
So it elevates your situational awareness and your ability to give that situational update to the ground units. The whole game changes.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to come back to talk to you guys.
Oh yeah.
In a year and be like, what's changed?
How's it going?
And you guys are already offering a superior product for your ground units.
Yeah.
And making the job safer and more efficient for them, but now they're going to be like, holy cow! I'm really excited to see to where you guys go and how this works out.
Thanks to our sponsor, Airbus. Airbus provides the most efficient helicopter solutions to its customers who serve, protect, and save lives and safely carry passengers in demanding environments. Its civil and military helicopters are flying all over the world, making missions possible. Visit airbus.com for more information.
It's true in the UAS world too now, in law enforcement. The drone guys, I've been around a lot of it now. In connection with my class, where I'm seeing the equipment with the drones, there's FLIR images
It's
that
incredible.
are 100 times better than anything I ever saw in a helicopter. On a drone. It's incredible. It's incredible. Daytime stuff. I was just in North Dakota doing that. We were working during the day.
Right.
It was chilly out, but not too bad. They put that infrared on in the colors. And we were seeing things and they were finding the decoys that we were putting out left and right, no problem. Middle of the day with infrared.
Wow.
And I said, well, that's very impressive.
That's a
Now,
game
not all of
changer.
them had that really top of
Ability.
line. And one of the units didn't have infrared. And then they saw it because the whole group was watching the big screen while others were operating. And they all said, oh, we got to go talk to our chief, because they saw the value of a high definition, top quality infrared picture, even in the middle of the day. It's going to be a game changer. You're going to love it, and you're going to have fun with it, and you're going to document, because it's just going to get you more. The Nashville guys laid it out so nicely. Nate just told us about the progression of, getting some upgraded equipment, and then how the productivity just went and just took off like a rocket.
Right.
And people just are reacting to that, and they're in the driver's. They're getting a new hangar. How about that?
Yeah.
Is that by accident? I don't think it is. I think it's all related. It's all related. You show your value with this more expensive equipment, maybe, yes. But is it a game changer where you get more bad guys, or you find more missing children, and more effectively and more efficiently, and all the long list of things? Yeah, it is. It's all related. People look at you when you come up there with that request, and they go, hey, this is the group that found that Alzheimer's patient last month that we would have never found. Yeah, we'll consider this camera request.
Right.
It's just amazing how that works. You got to play the game, kind of. And this is exciting.
Right.
This is exciting.
I know we're excited.
Oh yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
I mean, Danny's a little excited. Kevin's a cool customer. He's like, give me whatever airframe you want. I'll fly it. I have to fly it.
Yeah.
I went to UCLA back in '94.
That's right. It's a great
Chittick.
place, Alabama. They had to wake up to Alabama every morning, man. It's unbelievable. Sweet home. Anyway.
I do want to hear before we start wrapping up.
Yeah.
We talk about impactful missions. You guys
Yes.
work on in an area that I can't think of more impactful things taking place. So for each of you, I know for you, you've got a varied background between the park police and
Right.
here, not only with your response area, but the type of missions that you're doing. For you to start, can you think of a mission that was super impactful over the course of your career you could share with us?
I'll talk Metropolitan Police because it's where I'm at today. And you're going to hear plenty of stories over there. We had a couple. January 6th, I think, was one of the bigger ones for us.
You working that day?
Yes.
Okay.
I came in right as, I guess, kind of right at the heat of everything. And, I told TFO, hey, let's get up. And MPD wasn't, I don't think it was a cultural thing for MPD at the time. Like at Park Police, we self-initiate things, just go and do them. So when I got over here, that was 2 years after I had been here. I said, let's go up and get some photos because the guys are going to want to know what's going on. And Danny's on the front line too, which is another reason why I wanted to be up there. And so I think for coordination, I think that the management of MPD really could see, wow, we can really use these guys, because things have gotten more and more on more of a violent, I guess, confrontation between police and demonstrators. Because prior to that, I think it was
that whole year had been crazy, but it was cool to be able to have the unit, supervising help the unit that I'm working with on the ground. And Kevin, we'd get these pictures. Commander, here's what we got.
Yeah.
And it would really lay out, this is what we're dealing with. And,
Yeah.
But that day, I'll never forget, you get the picture, and we were like, man, we're 360, not good.
Right.
Yeah. It's interesting when you get the picture, like, oh, I didn't realize what we were actually looking at. Oh, boy, that's a lot of people.
Yeah. Wow.
And we have, this aircraft had downlink on it, and they've pulled it off of it because ever since I've been here, it's never worked.
We haven't had it
antennas
for
off.
a while, but we are going to get back to the
so they'll have the instantaneous, and now it's not like even back then we were going to a base. It was back when we first got downlink, it was just going to a base.
Mm-hmm.
And you may have one guy like a commander or something had it in a briefcase.
Yeah.
But now they can do it on the phones. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
CNC
Live has that program, and I've literally seen a phone or a tablet on the back of an operator's back,
right?
And
so
they
the
can
folks
see
behind them
can
see what they're being downlinked.
I remember when I was with Park, we were working with the K9 guys because that's one of our primary guys we assist is the K9 guys, and we're telling them, we can, if you guys, this is way back. If you guys could just pay for these they weren't called iPads back then. I can't remember what
mobile
they were
commanders.
called. Yeah, like me and you would work together on the K9 side. Jack, you're flying above us and you're downlinking to us, and I can see it and say, hey, he's going to be over here because you can see what they're seeing from the sky.
Yeah.
So now I think that's another thing that the department's going to really enjoy.
Yeah.
Especially the commanders of the different districts. I don't know who's going to be able to get the access to it.
Yeah.
But definitely when you have these different incidents that need the aircraft to be above and get a bigger picture of what's going on.
Is that going to be on the new 125?
Oh, yeah. They're getting down like
Good. I can't think of a more appropriate city to have that.
Yeah.
We stood up this new
DC.
command center. It's like a real-time crime center where there's basically going to be, they've got CCTV. We're just going to add another, drop of the bucket to what they're already monitoring, and I think we're going to bring that to the table for them for, the 1,000-foot.
It's amazing from when you came on, and what's going on today. It's unbelievable. Yeah.
We talked about it before.
And if you guys can get up there before you leave, I don't know if she can set that up, but it's a cool place. You see all the cameras and how it really works. And they've got detectives there who are given real-time information on what they're seeing from this crime. It's a pretty cool concept.
Yeah.
I mean, and we keep talking about demonstrations and disturbances, but 4th of July.
Yeah.
I mean, you have events like that. That downlink
Million people
and
on
the information that you can provide just for a a crowd of enthusiastic, patriotic citizens that are just enjoying
Good people.
the music and the fireworks. But they're there by the tens of thousands.
Yes.
You know, and now you have that picture that you can provide to detectives, command staff, tactical units, whatever it is for the worst case scenarios. So valuable.
Right.
How could you not, how do you not have that? So that's probably the top of the list that I'd want,
A unique way that we used it, and I'll just share it for the folks that have the opportunity to do this. We worked hand in hand with our economic development agency in the city, and we would hold these events. One of them was called the Route 66 Car Show, and we brought that event to our city, and we wanted to display how successful that event was to other businesses who might want to come to the area to support that car show. So we literally downlinked that show to the economic development agency, who took that footage and showed other investors so they could see, not just hearing them say how busy it was and the opportunity they might have as a business, but they were able to show them, hey, look, all these people here that you could potentially serve. So the partnerships that I'm big on,
Right.
reaching out to some of those other agencies, part of cities, and that was a benefit for us.
Yeah.
So a unique way to utilize it, not necessarily fighting crime in that way, but akin to what you're talking about and just other uses.
Danny, impactful event in your career, that particularly aviation, but
Yeah, go with
you can go with a couple if you want.
aviation. I'll probably just stick with that. But Kevin and I probably, you remember, I'm sure you've had quite a few in your career, but in the 6 years I've been here, me and Kevin were working a case. There was a guy that was throwing like homemade explosives at storefront windows, blowing them open, and then cleaning out the registers, the ATMs. And we had gotten a call that they thought that the vehicle was at a certain location. And I mean, this guy had hit probably 20 or 30 stores in multiple jurisdictions, and we don't find it. We're just up there like, all right, coming back.
I don't know where we look for like a white vehicle.
Yeah, like just like it was. They had
And you didn't find
idea.
it?
We didn't.
Wait.
We didn't find it.
It's crazy.
But
You
this,
find a lot of white vehicles up there.
Yes, there's a lot of white vehicles.
this black vehicle, it turned out to be a black BMW. I'm not going to get too into the details because it has not been
Yes.
adjudicated yet, but it was a year ago. Comes flying like 100 miles an hour down the wrong way. I'm like, well,
Sound effects for it?
yeah.
It was just like that.
I mean, he was coming.
Thanks again for the sound effects, guys. This is amazing. You're doing that, aren't you?
Good job, Hannah.
All right, cue the motorcycle.
So off you went.
I went over there. I'm like, is anyone looking for a black, sedan BMW looking in reference to a felony? He got one going really recklessly out here.
Yeah.
Past the stop
No
sign.
one sees it. Someone like chimes in like, yeah, he blew by me at like 100, maybe 30 seconds ago. I'm like, well, is he wanted for anything? Like,
I'm no detective, but
no one responds. So I'm like, all right, well, let's just follow him because this is now like ridiculous. He's on the wrong side of the road doing a bunch of reckless stuff. And he's about to go into the neighboring county. So I'm like, well, before we let him go, I'm just going to let Prince George's County know, hey, you've got a really fast-moving vehicle driving extremely recklessly. Be careful. Before I could even press my foot down, he tries to go around a car and gets into a head-on collision with somebody, gets out, carjacks that person,
Gun.
takes
See,
that
nice.
car, carjacks somebody else, goes into a McDonald's parking lot, attempts to carjack someone else. Unfortunately, he murdered that individual.
Oh, my gosh.
Carjacks another individual, shoots her 2 dogs, goes on another car chase back into D.C., crashes again, carjacks somebody else, crashes into a PG count. PG gets behind him and they're chasing him in.
Yeah.
Crashes into a PG car and gets into a shootout with Prince George's County. And when he crashed into PG County and the windows, you just started exploding, I was like,
Wow.
that's, I asked Kevin as we were landing, like, you ever seen anything like that before? And his pause, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know what we just literally witnessed 6 violent felonies in a 15-minute span with a shootout. I was,
No
it's
one
not
shot,
on the
though.
ground. No one got hit.
Yeah.
No one got hit,
Amazing.
which, thank God. Well, unfortunately, the one individual was killed in the McDonald's, but just to see all that happen, and not being on the ground, but to witness, it was just, we landed, we both sat there. Usually we're, after a chase, we get somebody, it's kind of a static move. We both were just like, what? I don't even.
What just happened?
I don't know how to explain that one.
But no video.
No,
Yeah.
no video.
Yeah.
But I don't know,
So it
if you
didn't
can-
happen.
Yeah, so it's the whole thing. I just don't know how you can get a case that has
No.
that much nuance between the jurisdictions. It was It was mind blowing. I mean, I drove home the whole way. I was like, I don't even know what to say.
Going back to the importance of aviation, had you guys not been there, that
whole thing would have gone different. And he had been wanted for multiple carjackings. I mean, there was so much more to this story. He thought we were on him from carjackings he'd committed earlier.
Yeah.
Over the span of 3 days, he'd committed multiple different armed offenses. This guy had no good intentions that day. Yeah. And, we weren't going to just let him go, but we were trying to pass to PG. Hey, look, we're coming off, but here's what you got. And it turned into, just what an insane case.
Well, I'll just say this. For future guests, when we ask you this question, don't be saying, well, Danny had that story and I can't compare.
Yes.
Just, share your stories with us because that's unbelievable.
I couldn't believe it happened. I mean, I was literally just, I don't know what to say.
But the value of the crew and that aircraft being there, oh my gosh, that just proves it right there. And it'd be nice to have that on video, of course.
Yes.
And it will be. But you're never going to have one that good again.
He flew that one.
That was amazing.
No, I don't think you can beat.
No,
that's the biggest case.
Wild.
Just everything.
I don't know. There's a lot that goes on in this city.
There is.
I know.
You never know.
But
know.
It's possible.
That was a
But, that's incredible.
Yeah. It's city's a magnet for this.
Uh-huh.
Like the shooter, and you have 9/11, Air Florida.
The
LAPD,
snipers.
I'm sure. Yeah.
The DC snipers. That was a wild time. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of interesting stuff. Well, this has been great. Thank you so much for the hospitality. Thanks for lunch.
Yes, sir.
We didn't even touch on that.
We walked in the door.
We didn't have drink of the day. We had lunch.
No, we had chicken of the day.
That's right.
We walked in the door, and the next thing we saw was Danny with a tray of chicken going, "Here you go, guys. And you want barbecue sauce?" And we're like, "Oh my gosh!"
Well, next time we'll have the smoker going, and we'll definitely smoke you up.
And next time we'll have an Airbus H125 fully loaded,
Maybe
and we'll
two.
check it out, and we'll do that. So. Hannah hasn't tased anyone. I think we're doing all right. I think we did really good because I do not like that Edison medicine. That's like I don't want any part of that.
That's right.
So
I like
for closing thoughts, John, go ahead.
Oh man, I'm just really impressed with your guys' ambition and the sense of pride you have in what you're doing. It's very evident. Thank you for hospitality, like Jack said. Coming here again, it's a proud moment for me to sit here with you guys in our nation's capital and talk about something I'm passionate about and something that you guys are both passionate about. So thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, and look forward to coming back like Jack.
Thanks for providing.
Yeah.
We get a lot out of it. So
appreciate it. I'm excited for your future, and I felt like that in Nashville and in Oxford, and the place we've gone there. Every unit we've been to is doing great things. And really, really doing great things. But the futures of everyone, because of equipment, training, personnel, all those things, are very bright. And it's very bright here. I think you're lucky to have a sergeant like Danny here. I know how you feel about that.
Yep, an old man.
And at the same thing, Danny, you're lucky to have this old man because he's got a lot of experience, and I know he's a skilled pilot. So.
I'll be retired before him. I can guarantee you that.
No.
Wow.
And him and Tony Weber.
Yeah, I know. Tony Weber, he will never retire. Yeah. And maybe Kevin's going to be right there with him.
I think Kevin Chittick's up there.
Well, thanks again. So from all of us at Hangar Z, we'll talk to you next time. Thank you again to Danny and Kevin and Hannah for not tasing anybody.
That's right.
And for having us here and allowing us to visit your operation. And now we'll go visit your old house across the river, if that's all right.
Don't get lost.
We won't. We'll need good directions if you know how to get there.
By air only.
By air, yeah, exactly. He won't be able to tell us how to get there. Well, so we'll talk to you next time in the Hangar Z podcast. Thanks for listening.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Hangar Z podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to hear more stories that promote the personnel and equipment behind the missions in public safety aviation. Lastly, stand by for a message after a word from our sponsors. Cheers.
Thanks to our sponsor, Airbus. Airbus provides the most efficient helicopter solutions to its customers who serve, protect, and save lives and safely carry passengers in demanding environments. Its civil and military helicopters are flying all over the world, making missions possible. Visit airbus.com for more information. Thank you to our sponsor, Shotover. Shotover Systems is the leading developer and manufacturer of high-performance gyro-stabilized cameras with advanced real-time AR mapping and mission management, all backed by unparalleled custom training and support. Now offering the M2 multi-sensor system, sole 6-axis EO/IR platform with 4K Ultra HD color and infrared technology. Ideal for law enforcement and defense. Offered with real-time AR overlays to quickly identify streets, weather, and traffic. Automated license plate recognition, 24 megapixel digital photographs, and automated steering and tracking. Thank you to our sponsor, SpectroLab. SpectroLab, a pioneer and world-leading supplier of high-intensity searchlights for all parapublic operations. Visit www.spectrolab.com to learn more about our third-generation Night Sun series high-intensity searchlight. When reliability and performance is critical to your mission, count on SpectroLab Night Sun searchlights.
As we conclude this episode of the Hangar Z podcast, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to Sgt Danny Thaw and pilot Kevin Chittick for sharing their invaluable insights and experiences from the Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police Air Support Unit. Their dedication to public safety and the complexities of operating in one of the most critical airspaces in the country remind us of the vital role aviation plays in law enforcement. Through this conversation, we've highlighted the importance of effective communication and crew resource management and ensuing successful operations. The stories of bravery and innovation you've heard today exemplify the courage and commitment of our public safety professionals who work tirelessly to keep our communities safe. Thank you for joining us on this leg of the Vertical Valor Blades of Valor tour, where we continue to showcase the heroes of public safety aviation across North America. We hope you gained a deeper understanding of the challenges and triumphs faced by these dedicated teams. To dive even deeper into the topics we discussed, be sure to check out the articles and videos by Brent Bundy in Vertical Valor magazine that further examines DC Metro and the Hangar Z Vertical Valor Blades of Valor tour. You can find them over at verticalmag.com. Cheers.
Time to close up the hangar. Thanks for joining us on the Hangar Z podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicasts.